What's up, everybody? It's me, Joey P. Joe P's and P, back with another buy low, sell high video. You made it. You're here. It's the All-Star break, the perfect time for that stretch run trade, the perfect time to evaluate what's working and what's not on your rosters and maybe make the move that wins you a championship. Before we get to the names to buy low and sell high on, make sure you like this video, share, and subscribe to FantasyPros MLB channel. We've got all the videos, all the podcasts. Everything is here for you because it's baseball all year round here at FP. So now that we've done that and taken care of business, here are the names you need to know to buy low and sell high for Week 15 in Major League Baseball. Let's start things off today with Lynn, veteran starting pitcher of the Chicago White Sox. I know it's been a very frustrating season for those of you who drafted Lynn. He began the season hurt, and since he's come back, you were kind of wishing that he was still away because that 6.97 ERA is absurd. But at the same time, you have to keep in mind, this is a veteran pitcher with a big-time track record. I think you give him a little bit longer to right the ship, and because he's on a good team and because he has earned the respect over the last few years of how well he's pitched, I think what you have to do is buy low on Lynn because people want to drop this guy, let alone bench him. So Lynn could be had for next to nothing, and I think there's a good chance in August and September he shakes off some of this dust, some of this rust, and actually has a pretty good finish to the season for the White Sox and for fantasy teams. Next on the list is Jon Gray, a starting pitcher for the Texas Rangers. Over the last month, Jon Gray has a 35K to 5 walk ratio, a 2.64 ERA, and a 1.11 whip. Maybe, just maybe, this is finally the turnaround we've been waiting for Jon Gray. It's been a very good month, and I feel like Jon Gray is just sitting on a lot of benches where people are still kind of afraid to commit. I would go make an offer, pluck him off somebody's bench, and put him in your rotation for the last part of the season. The next buy low on our list is Nick Castellanos of the Philadelphia Phillies, and this is a big name who has had a bad season. He is hitting right now just 251 with a 297 OBP and a 673 OPS on the season. Gross, terrible, awful. Not to mention the last 30 days have not been kind. Over his last 120 at-bats, he's got a 270 OBP and a 319 slugging. 319? That is absurd. That is terrible. He is much better than this. Nick Castellanos last year had a 938 OPS, and this is a player that consistently in his career has hit for a pretty good average, a 276 career hitter, and also has shown you more power than he's shown so far with just 8 home runs on the year. Nick Castellanos is one of my favorite second half buys, and now is the time to pounce because the last month has been absolutely awful for Castellanos. Let's switch gears and talk about the guys to sell high, and let's start with Joe Ryan, starting pitcher of the Minnesota Twins. I really like Joe Ryan as a long-term investment. Let me be clear, in keeper leagues and dynasty leagues, I'm not moving him. But in redraft leagues, you have to consider the fact he has a 4.70 xFIP compared to a 3.09 ERA on the year. Eventually, those two numbers are going to start to come closer together, and unfortunately, that ERA is going to start to rise. Over his last 6 starts, he has a 3.90 ERA and just 2 quality starts in 6 tries. It's something to keep in mind if you can flip Joe Ryan right now based on talent and based on his 2022 numbers to date, you might be able to acquire a starting pitcher who's a little bit more reliable for your stretch run and into the playoffs for those kind of formats. So consider dealing Joe Ryan now as opposed to waiting too long. The next guy to talk about on the list to sell high is Lourdes Gurriel of the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, I'm not saying just give him away, because he's had a pretty good season in 2022, hitting 295 on the year with a 772 OPS, but my goodness, look at the last 30 days for Lourdes Gurriel, hitting 365 with a 402 OBP and a 530 slugging. That is elite level stuff. And Lourdes Gurriel is not an elite level hitter. He hits in a good lineup. He's a nice hitter. He can certainly help out any manager you're looking to make a deal with who could use some batting average, but let's be honest here. This is not an all-world player. He is on an all-world run in the last month, but it's time to trade him at his high point, and that point is right now, so move Lourdes Gurriel before it's too late and cash in on this great run. The last guy on the list here to talk about to sell high is Dansby Swanson, shortstop of the Atlanta Braves. Now, Dansby Swanson's had a really good run, but let's keep in mind, he has the 7th highest BABIP now, over 400. That mark is sitting at 408. He has the 2nd highest strikeout percentage as well for anybody in the top 10 of BABIP leaders. That's a bad combination, plus his walk rate sits at just 3%. So while he's hitting the ball hard and it's great, but when he's missing it, all of a sudden things could come crashing down very quickly for Dansby Swanson. It's something you have to be aware of Yes, the lineup's great. The run he's been on has been better, but overall, he's always been a streaky kind of player, and it's time to sell high off the big-time streak. So I'd be looking to move Dansby Swanson right now and cash in while his value is at its zenith. So those are the names to add. Those are the names to get rid of in Week 15. Enjoy the All-Star break, take a breath, and make sure, again, that you subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB and check out our podcast leading off 5 days a week right here live on our YouTube channel. And of course, wherever you get your pods, we got you covered when it comes to baseball. So enjoy the break, make the moves you need to make, and go win those trophies, baby. That'll do it for me, Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.
Thanks for tuning in to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel. Don't forget to check out our featured videos. And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Fantasy Pros, so you can get the latest news and updates to give you the edge you need in your fantasy league.